Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Nine. I'm Matt Mendercio here with the one and only competition czar, defending North American champion, new special assistant to who knows, Matt Fegley. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I feel all a little weird because I'm in the wife's office here in California and I have like an actual, camera and it's kind of interesting, you know. So, hey, we'll see.
There
See
you
how
go.
it goes. Hopefully my eyes don't wander too much.
I understand. Well, we are just getting back. You're still in California, but in the California headquarters for the Fegley household.
Yep.
We are back in the office after the longest travel day in the world yesterday. Um, and having some fun though. So, um, yeah,
Absolutely, man. It was good. And I know everybody, had some fun travel due to the storms and stuff. So, hopefully everybody has at least arrived home safely.
absolutely. Well, the crazy thing is, it's not slowing down any on the APT this weekend. We've had
No.
back-to-back major weekends, two really successful events, one at Bedford Springs, one at Torrey Pines and Aviara. You can't say just Torrey Pines because Aviara was really good.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, and we got Jody here. So let's bring Jody on. We're going to
Oh,
have some fun. But
he's arrived.
we got quite the weekend this weekend. What's up, Jody?
Hey guys, how is everybody?
We're good.
Living the dream.
Good,
It's been about 20 minutes since I talked to you. So
right?
it's about right. But we're just getting into talking about this weekend's events. I know we got some good stuff on tap. We've got a sold out field Saturday Crescent Farms in St. Louis, new venue for us. So we're
Nice.
excited about that. Going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully no events on Sunday because it's Mother's Day. So if any of our guys put events on Sunday, I will publicly shame you on the live tonight for putting an event on Mother's Day.
There's one event.
Shame, shame.
It's Indianapolis.
Nice. It happens.
Oh,
At Timbergate.
I do like me some Timbergate, though.
Not bad.
It's a good golf course, but just make sure you're nice to mom before you leave.
I mean, I do enjoy playing. My mother does play golf, so it is always a fun thing to go out on Mother's Day and enjoy a round of golf with mom because it is empty. It's glorious.
That's true.
I hear you. Well, how this thing works for those that are tuning in that are new, Thursday night, nine holes, 9 different topics. We'll try to fly through, keep things moving. We've got special guests every week. We'll be covering USJ rules. We'll be covering some APT rules. And as you can guess, we'll be talking about pace of play because we're always talking about pace of play. It needs to get better. Not just an APT thing, but just a golf thing in general. We'll keep moving with that as we keep going. But we'll jump right in. Recap from this weekend, Torrey Pines, Aviara. What were your thoughts from this weekend? Jody, I'll start with you.
Well, first of all, if anybody looks at the scores, I think they're going to see that both courses played pretty difficult, in two different ways. Aviara, I think it was primarily the green complexes, the Poana and greens with a lot of internal slope and things going on. Really, I think threw the players for a loop in some spots, and there were some tricky pins out there too. Not going to lie about that. Full disclosure, we did not set the pins. That was the course staff that did that.
It is in my notes. Our exit conference with at least one of the golf courses was like, "Hey, can we not do that again?" And they were like, "Yeah, we've got an easy set of tournament pins. You want us to use those?" Yes,
that would be preferable for sure. And then Torrey, of course, is just, man, it's a ball striker's golf course. If you're hitting fairways and striking your irons well, hitting greens, you're going to score out there. But if you're not, you're going to find yourself in some difficult spots with lots of others on the card to be made for sure.
Yes.
right. No, absolutely. Fegley, what's your initial thoughts on this last weekend? You got to play, so we're all jealous of you.
I mean, Jody covered it. Again, we were greeted with more San Francisco weather than San Diego weather.
True.
Again, I'm always a 50s, 60s golfer guy anyhow, so it's golf weather. But yeah, I mean, the pins at Aviara were definitely, those of you that have followed the USGA and their social media, where the gentleman putted off the green. I felt that, hey, there might have been a situation or two where you could have replayed from your original putting position and maybe wound up better off. But
We may or may not be talking about number 14.
maybe.
Quite entertaining.
But yeah,
that was 15, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 15 or 14.
Yeah, 14 is par 3 down the hill.
14, yeah.
Yeah, 15.
15 was definitely brutal. And then, like I told everybody that asked me about Torrey Pines, I'm like, Torrey Pines is Torrey Pines. And if you're hitting the ball good, you'll be like, oh, man, this is great. And if you were in my position where the ball striking was not in tune, it's going to be a long day.
Yes.
That is completely fair.
Yep.
So here's my 3 takeaways from it, because it was my first time to both properties. I'd never set eyes on either one of them. I thought Aviara was more picturesque and beautiful than you can even think or imagine it would be. And there's an awe factor to stepping on the first tee at Torrey Pines. Like, that place is really, really cool. The setting did not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. I didn't think I would be as impressed by Torrey Pines as I was. I didn't get to play it, but just, walking around it, riding around it, looking at the different holes, really, really good golf course. It was a lot of fun to watch. Second thing, the competition in D2 was really fun to watch. 4 guys with the chance to win on the 18th hole. I thought that was great and really fun. And third thing, shout out to Ryan Maramis, who won D3. I always love guys that get promoted. He's struggled 9 months in making that transition from 4 to 3, which is by far the hardest transition on our tour between divisions. And to see him come out, play well, and get a win against a great field with players from all over the country was really fun. So a little shout out to Ryan. Going through the winners, we'll keep running. D1, Josh Crossan, Las Vegas, shot even par at Aviara to set up a nice little lead for him. Finished at 5 over par. Division 2, Paul Hess out of Central PA. Getting it done on the last hole. Crowded field at the top of the leaderboard in D2. It was fun to watch.
Necessary to point out that is a senior not playing from the senior tees.
Yes, correct. So, and getting it done, which works out better for him. It's actually a great thing. Congrats to him. Division 3, Ryan Maramis from Southern California. Getting it done, like I said, he got promoted from D4 to D3 last year. Has been kind of struggling through it. Was frustrated with his game coming in, he said, and then to get it done was fun to watch. D4, Dave Davidson from SoCal, getting it done. He's been playing well as of late. D5, Cinco de Mayo is owned by Travis Shively. He won last year at Kierland. And then turns around and comes out and gets the West Coast. He apparently likes the West Coast. So you get it done. Open net was also Ryan Maramis. Only player in the field to break par, if I remember right, both days. From a net perspective, he finished at 3 under par. And then senior net, Mr. Chris Miner getting it done from Myrtle Beach. So big weekends for Myrtle Beach and SoCal, which is kind of funny. So 2 different tours dominated from across the country. So Myrtle Beach had a couple winners. SoCal had a few winners, and a fun weekend. So
the sea level players took advantage of playing at sea level.
Yes. And we talked a little bit last week about the different grasses that some of the East Coast players were going to experience, especially going from Omni Bedford Springs to the West Coast. And you know what? I think some of those guys found out exactly what we were talking about, particularly on the greens.
Yes.
Right.
What is this bizarre plant?
That's right.
It's called Kikuya.
It's called Kikuya, and it's called Poana.
So
that's right.
Anyways, so jumping into hole number 2, prizing options. I think this is good. Chris wrote this up. So, but we have 4 different prizing options. We'll cover them real quick. So, you can get those at any of your tournaments. You just got to request them. That's all it is. So, first one's easy. It's an APT branded physical Visa gift card. We also offer you the digital version that comes in an email. You can get, which has become really popular, Jody, is the tournament credit. That just goes on your account. You can use for tournaments. I would say tournament credit has increased by 60, 70% in the last year. Super easy, never expires, just sits in your account. Any future registration, and that's the key, is future registration. You'll have credit into your account.
For those of us who may have been accused at times of being delinquent gamblers, we call that letting it ride.
Letting it ride. Exactly. And the last, and this option's also grown quite a bit recently this year. And actually had a chance to go up and tour the flagship store for Worldwide Golf in Santa Ana, Roger Dunn in Santa Ana. I will tell you that I could easily spend any amount of prize money won on the APT in that store. I was very impressed by all the things that they had. And that's the Worldwide Golf Shops gift card. And courtesy of Worldwide Golf Gift Shops, they are giving a 10% bonus to what you win. So if you win $800 and you want to take a Worldwide Golf gift card, we're actually going to give you $880 instead, which is a pretty cool little deal. So you just add 10%. Obviously, the $1,000 limit still applies, but you can do that as well. So there you go. Those are your 4 prizing options on the APT.
And it is okay if you do finish well in different contests to split them up.
Yes.
It's got to be an all or nothing. Like, hey, give me my open winnings in a Visa gift card, and then put my net winnings in the tour credit. But we don't want to get down to doing splitting to the cent, but large chunks are okay.
Right. I concur, sir.
I love Ed in the chat. He goes, the tour credit is the way to go. You keep telling the wife that the tournament costs you nothing.
Exactly.
So that is a good thing. Well,
it's like her when she tells you that it was on sale.
Right. So next thing up, the swag drop. We've had a lot of questions about that. Quite a few people's names on the list. The swag drop is tomorrow. Limited edition 5th anniversary stuff. I might have brought a couple of them to show on camera tonight. Chris, if you want to put the link up in the chat to get on the list, you're going to get an email. If you're on the list, you'll have access to shop these at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. If there's anything left, it'll open to everybody at noon. So if you're interested in the drop, get on the list now, and you'll get an email tomorrow morning first thing. So we'll pull out the first head cover. The first is the absolutely excited 5th anniversary head cover. This is the driver cover. Might have posted this over the weekend. This bad boy here. On screen. We get the absolutely excited. You got the nice swag. You got the red Solo Cup. The APT out swag logo on there. That's the first one. Second one is the red Solo Cup 5th anniversary. So one of these bad boys. Pretty sweet. A little swag on the back. All authentic. We've got fairways of both. So you can see there, I didn't take them out of the bag, keeping them sealed. And then putter covers. The blade putter cover is the red Solo Cup. It's got the swag logo, APT logo on top. Kind of fun. And the mallet cover is the absolutely excited. So lots of fun. Everything tomorrow is Central Time, boys. And we moved it to 9, so you guys out on the West Coast don't have to get up before 7 a.m. to get access to it. But it is limited supply. We are not going to order more of these designs. So once they are gone, they are gone. And you never know. If this thing blows up, they could be a collectible someday. Just saying.
There you go.
You and I have a couple of demos that we've got in our bag right now. I told you earlier that I might have to offer mine for auction later.
Right. I'm not sure mine's coming off my clubs anytime soon. So
special owners edition, founders edition.
That's right.
But I will tell you, I can say this: if you like the partnership with Swag, this is the very tip of the iceberg. We've got some really cool things coming in the next 30 days that we'll be able to announce. We're working with Swag in a big way. They're going to become a big part of the APT. We are very much looking forward to working very closely with them in the future. And so some of these swag deals are the very beginning. I will tell you, I saw the proof of the Wingman head cover we're doing.
It's good.
And I want it. I'm just putting it down. So it's going to be really, really good. So stay tuned on that. But anyway, swag drop. Chris posted in the chat to get on the list if you're interested. I will tell you there's 200 plus people on the list. So there are more people on the list than there are inventory. So do not delay.
There you go. Like it.
Good intro to this new partner we've got. Really excited about this. Absolutely excited about this.
Absolutely.
This will be a very fun one. So stay tuned. They are all authentic. They are in the swag bag. So all you swag collectors, it's the exact same thing. It's just an APT edition.
Yep.
And we will not reorder this design. It will get retired and we will come up with something new in the future. So don't think we're just going to replace it to refill inventory. We are not going to do that. So it'll be fun. But anyways, there's the swag drop coming tomorrow, noon Central for everybody. If you're on the list, you'll get an email with special access to it at 9 a.m. Central. So stay tuned and be ready for that email to show up in the inbox, and we'll get you access to it. So, yeah, we got a lot more to cover. We've got Mark Braley from Tulsa tonight. We got a bunch of rule stuff to cover. It's going to be a good time. So stay tuned. We've got a message from Worldwide Golf. We'll be right back.
Get there.
Get there.
Get there.
Get there. Those two words are said by golfers all over the world as a sign of respect, a whisper of encouragement, a roar of support. It's what we say to our competitors, our loved ones, our heroes. It's what we say to ourselves.
Get there.
At Worldwide Golf, we're like you. We strive to improve our game, to elevate our standards, and transcend our limits. Our commitment is to the journey, to the tradition, and to the spirit of golf that unites us all. Since 1963, Worldwide Golf has been there to supply golfers with the equipment and apparel they need to drive their journeys forward. With over 100 retail locations spread across 10 retail brands and the best golf e-commerce websites, we have exactly what every golfer needs for however they choose to play. All of this done to help golfers who want to be their best get there. We are golfers, and we're here for golfers. We built a brand around evolving the game and having what you need to play your way, and it shows in every product we offer and every experience we provide. Our goal is singular, to help you get there. Though the game may change, our mission remains: to stand beside you, to grow with you, to celebrate every victory and learn from every shot. Worldwide Golf. Get there.
So love our partners at Worldwide Golf. Keep in mind, every member gets $50 credit in global cash to globalgolf.com. Also sponsoring our National Player of the Year this year in all 11 of our divisions. Also looked at the proof for one of the prizes for that Swag is helping us out with. And needless to say, you're going to want it. That's all I have to say. It's pretty legit. So I'll go on a limb. Answered a couple questions for. We welcome Mr. Braley officially. You will get a link by email. That's the people on the list early. Henris wants to know if there's going to be an APT room rate at Sequoia. we are trying and trying and trying to get them to give us a rate that doesn't have a 3 in the first number. So if we can get that done, there will definitely be a rate. If not, we are not helping them gouge you guys for rooms on the 4th of July. So
even the 3, well, let's get it to a 2 something, but man,
Right.
it's just an expensive weekend that weekend for
but there
finding-
are many Airbnbs around, lots of different places to stay. So there you go. It'll be a fun time to be up there. That being said, Mr. Braley, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's always good to have you.
Long weekend it's a long weekend out there, but I put out a video on my Facebook page today. Andre Boyd, my marketing guy, did, and so I want to give you guys some props in case you haven't seen it. Everything that you guys did, and a shout out to Troy Shadid and his wife for helping as well. But everything you guys did was spot on, man. That place was so good. And Aviara was everything you said it would be, and I don't think you can give it enough credit. I'd go back there in 2 weeks if you guys are ready to go. It was nice.
We're working on rebooking it now. So I met with Aviara on Tuesday morning, and then the biggest challenge is to get a hold of the poor Greg at Torrey Pines. He might be the most overworked man in the golf industry. So
No doubt. The guy's supposed to be the tournament scheduler booker for the city of San Diego Parks Department, whose office is literally there at the golf course running the Parks Department. And then he sat there almost the entire day in the starter shack while we were there running the tournament. So the guy's doing a little bit of everything.
So, but
yeah, that place was great. I mean, if the views out over the ocean weren't good enough, you could watch the F-22 Raptors or the some of that other aircraft or all the hang gliders and stuff. There was a lot going on.
The
cool.
Ospreys flying back and forth. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah,
definitely a cool day. San Diego is such a cool place. Lots of great spots to hang out, to eat, lots of stuff to do for the family. Whether it's downtown San Diego, I know some of our members caught a Padres game, or if you go up to, Del Mar and kind of sit on top of the cliffs and do some really cool dining, you can go up to Cardiff by the Sea and get right on the water and eat. Just with stuff to do absolutely everywhere. It's a really good time. So
I think we had a couple of members even went to Disneyland while they were in town. I think it was only a couple hours away. So they drove up to Anaheim and did Disneyland for a day. It's one of those deals. I think we're probably going to have to make this an annual deal somewhere in that Southern California, San Diego market, and give the members just an opportunity to go out and experience it 3 or 4 day weekend and enjoy the time with your spouse or buddies, whoever you decide to travel with.
Yeah, lots of great golf out there. Obviously, Torrey. You don't need to talk about the history of the South Course. Aviara hosted the Kia Classic on the LPGA for years and years and years. Madeiras is out there, which is another top public course, and then you've got Omni La Costa that's right there as well. That
hosting the NCAA championships next week, so not a snoozer either.
Right. So lots of good options there for major venues. But let's talk Tulsa for a minute. Braley, you're one of those unique ones because, we first met in, we were talking about this weekend in 2016. APT was merely a thought at that point. But we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and we're super excited to have you on board now for a second year in Tulsa, and just let me know how things are going and what you got going on down there.
It's good. I mean, we're probably about where we were membership wise this year, although we're up to about, I think, 23 new members, and a lot of the guys that played in the last couple of years will come back. They're just the ones I've talked to are just weather. I mean, we're right there in a tornado alley. Keith from Oklahoma City and myself we're both fighting weather every once in a while. And it can be beautiful and sunny, just like yesterday here. And in 15 minutes, you have a storm blow in that knocked out trees and power last night. So a lot of guys want to wait, and we're kind of getting into that stretch. We have a tournament May 18th at Cherokee Springs. We're getting in that stretch of really good golf after that with Battle Creek on the 31st, and then a couple other big events coming up after that.
Cool. So,
and to top it off, we ended up at one that we named the Gathering, Patricia Island Golf Club, which is kind of this little, to me, it's similar to Ambrier. It's kind of a little hidden gem. You know, everybody focuses on Shangri-La, which is on the west side of the lake, Grand Lake, and then Patricia Island's this little hidden gem on the east side of the lake. And by boat, it's like maybe 10 minutes, but by car, it's like 20, 25 minutes. And so we had a 2-day event there and had 54 players. Everybody had a great time and really exceeded my expectations. So glad to get the year started off up there.
Very, very cool. Well, why don't you talk a little bit about the culture? I know when we have conversations, we talk about culture all the time. Culture we're trying to build on the APT. I know you're a big proponent of it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what that means to you and how to make it happen?
Oh, that's easy for me because I'm a huge proponent of APT. It wouldn't be a part of it if I wasn't. But then again, most of us have been on another tour where things aren't the way they are here. And quite frankly, the by the players for the players is what, to me, makes this one, you know, so special, is that we've all, the people that run the chapters are all players that played in tournaments, been on other tours, things of that nature. You know what to expect. And you guys are doing a great job, I think, of putting everything out there. And on the other tours, you just never know, man. I mean, the things like the swag, for example, that's pretty cool. You would never see that on anywhere else that you go. So it's exciting for me. I'm a competitive person. If I see some of the other people in my neck of the woods, I just want to crush them. And to be real honest with you. And so I do everything that I can to add some excitement to Tulsa. You know, we've got some videos that we enjoy putting out and chatting it up with people. And we got just a great group of guys. I've got a lot of guys that have played all 3 years that we've been a chapter. And it's just really, really fun. And I try to keep them involved too. So it's pretty good. It's working out real good. Glad to be a part of it.
Awesome. Jody, what do you got for your buddy Braley down here?
Well, when you know, a lot of guys probably have not played much golf in Tulsa, and you know, this is the second season, full season that you've been able to put together. What are the can't miss events that guys need to come and circle on their calendar and try to make it their way to Tulsa to come play with you guys?
I think my favorite event, my new favorite event is probably the Gathering. That thing was just so much fun. And then coming up, I really like Bailey Ranch. We're at Bailey Ranch coming up here pretty soon. We're working on something special with them for next season already. And then Forest Ridge on the 19th of July is my second major. It's a single day major, but that golf course is just unbelievable. The clubhouse is really, really cool. They got great food. It's a really, really neat event. You guys should come down and try that sometime. But Forest Ridge is really, really good. Man, we had Meadowbrook sold out the weekend before this past one at Torrey. And I mean, 15 minutes before the first tee time, and it just came a goalie washer and they shut us down. So really disappointed at that. We're working on rescheduling that for October, which will be part of the 26th season. But yeah, really Forest Ridge, Bailey Ranch. Those are some really, really good ones that we got coming up.
So June 28th at Bailey Ranch, and then July 19th at Forest Ridge.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and you're kind of there in the middle of the
Yes,
country
sir.
too. You know, you've got the Arkansas chapter that's you got a lot of members that probably are just a couple, 3 hours away from there. Oklahoma City's in an hour and a half, less than 2 hour drive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so I'm an advocate for, I mean, I don't have 20 tournaments on my schedule, and I've lost a couple already this year. So I'm an advocate, though, for our players being able to go to other tours. I think it's fantastic to experience that. For example, last year before Branson, I had an event at Cherokee Hills, and Kurt Bressner, who I played with this weekend, and his wife Susanna was with him, but they were traveling across country to go to Branson and play in that tournament. And Kurt stopped in and played at one of ours, and just an all-around great guy. But the point there is that you're able to meet other people. For my tournament at my gathering tournament, a lot of Keith Tillman from Oklahoma City. Keith had 9 players come and play in that event. And because it was a double points event, double payout, we had a sponsor. We put all the sponsor money into each chapter, into each division, got an extra $200. And so really, really cool that players can, in Tulsa, players can go other places, but in Tulsa, you can be a couple of hours up to Kansas City. You can be a couple of hours to maybe a little bit more over to one of Rob Luter's tournaments in Arkansas. A couple of hours down the interstate, you can be in Dallas. It's a little over an hour over to Oklahoma City. I mean, we're right there in the middle where you can go and play in 4 or 5 other chapters. And I'm an advocate for our player, and I preach it to them, hey, let's go somewhere else and play. And I think Tulsa responds pretty well to that.
Well, like you said, if you're sitting there looking at the weather map and it's not looking too good where you are, you can just kind of look east or west and maybe go find a dry spot to play.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you're looking at something that is in Oklahoma City, just give it a couple hours and it'll be in Tulsa. So you might as well just turn around and head back over to Oklahoma City and go play, because it's already out of there by the time it gets to us.
There you go. We're going to have to put together a special Route 66 string of tournaments, so guys can just start in Kansas City and work their way all the way down the line.
So,
yeah, that would be cool. We already have the Route 66 rivalry, which is a Ryder Cup format with Oklahoma City, which, by the way, if Keith is listening, I believe Tulsa's up 1-0.
I'm sure he's listening.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So
yeah,
it has. I will say that Illinois has had more tornadoes this year than Oklahoma.
Wow.
I saw some stat of that today. I thought that was nuts.
I can believe that, man. It's kind of moving all over the place right now, isn't it?
So Illinois and Arkansas are the 2 worst, supposedly. So go figure.
Yeah. I'm not so sure we didn't have a little small one blow through here last night. I mean, there's tree limbs down everywhere this morning. So power out, and it's pretty crazy. No golf today, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I talked to my golf course today for Saturday, and he's like, yeah, I got all the time in the world. I had to cancel a golf tournament today. So they're just like, we're just sitting here at the pro shop hanging out. It's been that kind of spring. That is for sure. But, yeah, we'll jump right in. Hole 6. We got going through the rules. Brayley figured we'd keep you on, have good conversation about that. We just started going through the rule book. We're still on Rule 1. So Rule 1.3 this week, Fegley. And this one's called Playing by the Rules. It's a novel concept.
Right.
So meaning of the rules, terms of the competition, which sounds boring. Like, let's be honest as we go through this, but I think it I'm actually going to pull this over so I can look at this and still look at y'all while we're doing this. But I think it really, some of this stuff is guiding principles. Right. And I'm not going to name the tour guys that come on and visit our tour and say they don't play by the rules on the APT, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, y'all don't understand Rule 1.3, because the first part of Rule 1.3 is the meaning of the rules in terms of competition. And the term rules means rules 1 through 25 and the definitions of the rules of golf, which, by the way, if you want to know the rules and you don't feel like you know them very well, the first thing you should do is memorize the definitions of the rules of golf. You can get through 90% of this stuff if you understand what the terminology means for this stuff. So that's where you should start. But it also says, so rules 1 through 25 and the definition of the rules of golf and any local rules the committee adopts for the competition of the course. So things that the slang term like the NOMO rule is actually a USGA rule because we used a model local rule. Well, not even a model local rule, but the rule for penalty areas says that the committee can define any part of the course where a ball is unlikely to be found or able to be played as a red penalty area, which is what y'all call the no-mo rule. But it is part of the rules of golf because it's a local rule adopted by the committee, which is us. Things like that. This is also the reason why you want to read the back of your rule sheet that has the small print, because there's 8 or 9 local rules that are kind of important to understand. But for the purposes of this, that people say they don't play by USGA rules. No, we just actually take the time to define the local rules and follow the rules in 1.3, which that's the first part of it. The second part, Fegley, is applying the rules. So this one's really good. You might have to repeat it for those in the back. But player responsibility for applying the rules. Players are responsible for applying the rules to themselves. Let's say that one more time. Players are responsible for applying the rules to themselves.
There are referees in golf, but the referees don't call. It's your responsibility.
You call your own fouls, you call your own balls and strikes.
Yep.
Correct. Which, by the way, shout out to Johnny Pierce.
Yep.
Totally took himself out of a tie for second at Torrey based on a rules violation.
I did not hear about this.
Called it on himself.
But there you go.
Not even sure anybody saw it, to be honest with you, except for him. So shout out. That was a class move. But it says a player knows they have breached a rule that involves a penalty and deliberately fails to apply the penalty, the player is disqualified. And if 2 or more players agree to ignore any rule or penalty they know applies, and any of those players have started the round, they are disqualified, even if they have not yet acted on the agreement. That's even crazy. Don't even think about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Some truth to that.
It's pretty crazy. We'll keep going. This is good. We'll let Jody comment on the next part. Accepting players' reasonable judgment and determining a location when applying the rules. So many rules require a player to determine a spot, point, line, edge, area, or other location under the rules, such as estimating where a ball last crossed the edge of a penalty area, estimating or measuring when dropping or placing a ball and taking relief, or replacing a ball on its original spot, whether the spot is known or estimated. Determining the area of the course where the ball lies. Had that at Aviar a couple times. Including whether the ball lies on the course, or determining whether the ball touches or is in an abnormal course condition. Such determination about location need to be made promptly and with care, but often cannot be precise. So long as the player does what can be reasonably expected under the circumstances to make an accurate determination, the player's reasonable judgment will be accepted, even if after the stroke is made, the determination is shown to be wrong by video evidence or other information.
Thankfully, we don't have too many cameras on the APT.
Right. So if a player becomes aware of a wrong determination before the stroke is made, it must be corrected.
So this goes back to the whole argument of, well, I think my ball went out here. Well, no, I think it went out 5 yards back, or I think it went out 7 yards up, or whatever the case may be. And all too often, we get caught up in the minutia of that discussion, which leads to hurt feelings and, more importantly, slows things down because you sit there and argue about it for 5 minutes rather than just taking the drop and hitting the shot and move on. And so, again, it's right there in the rules that the reasonable judgment of the player in determining where they should be taking their drop or where this penalty should happen, that will be accepted by the committee, short of some, irrefutable evidence to the contrary. So if it's a he said, she said, don't bring that to the scoring tent. It's not going to go well.
Right. Well, I think one of the things getting to this, especially when applying a spot, like hitting ball in a penalty area and you're getting ready to take a drop, determine the point across. If it's not 100% obvious where it is, and I'm playing with Jody and Fegley, I'm going to be like, hey, Fegley,
You guys
I'm
okay
thinking-
with this?
I think it's right here. Are you okay with this? And then just takes it out. And if they move me 15 yards back, just move 15 yards back, man. Like, like it's just one of those things. Doesn't need to be a fight. We see fights about that all the stinking time. And if you're the guy trying to take advantage on that, like, we're taking notes.
Yeah, so there's two issues there. There's the guy that tries to get 20 yards up and is trying to push the envelope as to where they should be taking the drop. And again, if you're a player in that group, it is certainly within your right and you're proper to question that and say, no, look, the three of us think you went out here and we think this is where the drop is. Again, if there's a dispute in that situation, you can always drop 2 balls and play 2, and then we can discuss it whenever you get in. You want to get to going and keep play moving. But the other side of that is the one guy in the group that wants to be, a PGA rules official and get down to, the 6 inches. I don't think it was here. I think it was 6 inches back, and start getting into minutia about where it is. Really need to, we as a group and as a tour, we need to start making sure that we're calling these things on ourselves and that we're making sure that we are responsible for our own score and our own penalty. And that's going to take a lot of this question and discussion out of it. But also we need to have a little bit more respect for each other when we're having these conversations during the tournament.
Right. No.
And I think as just talking about
Yep.
red penalty areas, one of the key things that gets misunderstood is it is where it crossed, not where you think it currently sits.
Right.
And that is one of those things that I've seen in the past where people do get into a dispute because one person is defining it as where it crossed and the other person is like, well, no, my ball's up here. I get to pull it across. No, it's where the ball crossed. And as we get into discussing, stuff about those red penalty areas, that is the one thing to keep in mind is where it's crossed.
Point of entry.
Point of entry.
I think the yellow, like Aviara had a couple of areas that were yellow penalty markers, and I think that confuses them worse than the reds do.
Yeah. Yellow, you always have to keep it between you.
I'll be honest. If it were me writing the rules, there wouldn't be a yellow penalty area and everything would be red.
Well,
I couldn't agree
and
more.
in Aviara, the drop zones were in play, which generally you will see
Right.
for yellows, the drop zones in play. So
No, absolutely. Well, keep it moving, then we'll get to some questions.
Yep.
I think there's some good. Kristen's asking a good question in the chat. We'll get to it. The third part of this is penalties. So actions giving rise to penalties. Cover this real quick, but I do think it's important to understand. So the penalty applies when a breach of the rule results from a player's own actions or the actions of their caddy. We actually don't have caddies on APT, so it shouldn't be your caddy that gives you a penalty because we don't have them 90% of the time. Penalty also applies when another person takes an action that would breach the rules if taken by the player or caddy, and that person does so at the player's request or while acting with the player's authority. So short of this rule is don't tell your wife to go kick your ball out from the rough. You will get a penalty for that. Not that anyone's ever done that, but just giving examples. Or the player sees another person about to take an action. This one's interesting. The player sees another person about to take an action concerning the player's ball or equipment they know would breach the rules if taken by a player or caddy and does not take reasonable steps to object or stop it from happening. This is a good one. We actually ran into this in St. Louis a couple years ago, and somebody just let somebody break the rule. It's not cool, man. The whole thing about this is we're a community of like-minded people and we need to act with integrity. And there's no quicker way to find yourself off of our tour than not act with integrity. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's one thing to be competitive and wanting to win, but you should also want to win with integrity.
correct.
100%.
So when you watch somebody walk up to the wrong tee marker,
Tell them.
tell them.
Or my favorite is, and I used to deal with this in USJ qualifiers all the time. I actually watched a penalty get called on a guy that did this. Thank goodness. I mean, it was awkward because it was only a threesome and the two were involved and I was with them the rest of the day.
Oh,
But
geez.
literally watched a guy hit from above in front of the tee marker and then called him on it right afterwards. And rules official was within earshot and gave the penalty to the guy that watched it happen because you can just see him. And he asked me, he goes, "Do you think he had reasonable?" I was like, "Dude, the guy was standing there watching him and didn't say a word to him."
Yeah.
So yeah, don't do stuff like that, man. It's not cool. Levels of penalties. This is interesting. So penalties are meant to cancel out any potential advantage to the player. So there's 3 penalty levels. This is important to understand. 1-stroke penalties. This is when the breach is minor. Or the player takes penalty relief by playing a ball from a different place when the original ball lies. Kind of interesting. Then there's the general penalty. This is most all penalties in golf are the general penalty. Applies for breach in most rules where the potential advantage is more significant than where only 1 penalty stroke applies. And then disqualification, which is when you do something that is very bad. Serious misconduct or where the potential advantage is too significant for the player's score to be considered valid. The third thing, which is important, penalties need to be applied only as is provided in the rules. So don't come beg us to change the penalty. We're looking at the rule book. What the rule book says is what we're going to do. Neither the player nor the committee has authority to apply penalties in a different way. And a wrong application of penalty or failure to apply a penalty may stand only if it's too late to correct it. There we go. And then there's applying penalties to multiple breaches of the rules. We're going to leave that one alone for right now because I know we can come back to that later if anybody has questions. But that's for the committee to understand.
We can call the one about too late to decide the Monday phone call.
But I will tell you, sometimes if Monday phone call warrants, and we've had to change results on a Monday before.
That is correct. But that is the intent of the scoring table. Get it done.
So I want to go back just to the Section A of this rule. Players are also responsible for complying with all terms of the competition adopted by the committee, such as entry requirements, the form and dates of play, the number of rounds, and the number and order of holes in a round. And I would specifically point out that also in an APT event includes the keeping of live score and posting of your score throughout the round after each hole. That is a rule of the APT. That is an expectation. And it frustrates me to no end to see one group or 2 groups that either don't put its scores in at all or wait to do it at the turn while everyone else is doing it and trying to look at the leaderboard and see what's going on, and they can't tell because your group is not following the rules. So that's my soapbox, and I'm done.
There you go. And also the pace of play policy. We'll add that to it. It is really good. We got APT rules topic next, which is good. It's going to be a good one tonight. But first, we got a message from Turtleson, so stay tuned. We will be right back. So the APT rules topic of the day, Jody, you'll love this.
All right.
Is lift, clean, in place. We got to talk about lift, clean, in place. How to do it, when it gets implemented, what you shouldn't expect to get when it comes to lift, clean, in place, and the whole 9 yards.
Why we decide to do it?
Yeah, let's start there.
All right. So it can be that decision can be made for a couple of different reasons. The most likely of which is probably going to be course condition. Right. As we go out and we do our recon around the course the day before, or we're out setting tees up, we'll make a decision based on the course condition and what's going on. And as we discussed earlier in this show, that several of the courses that we're dealing with around the country are coming out of a rough winter. And so in order to make the experience more enjoyable and more fair, more equitable, and for somebody not just catch a bad break hitting a good shot in the fairway and finding themselves in a dirt patch. It's a decision that we make that's a judgment call. The other thing is looking at weather. Sometimes the weather conditions are evident at the time of play when the first tee starts, but also we look at the forecasted weather. And while it may be sunny and 70 degrees whenever the first groups tee off, as we saw in Bedford Springs, the first round at Bedford, we went ahead and played lift, clean, in place because we knew weather was coming in later in the day. And so once you make that decision, you have to stick with it throughout the run. It has to be same for everybody. So we want to go ahead is playing under the same circumstances. So those are the kind of the 2 or 3 primary ways that we make that decision.
Yeah. So I think the other piece of it as well is once you start a round, it's going to be that way through the entire round, even if it finishes the next day. So that's why we try to be.
Yeah. So if we started playing it down like we did at Torrey on Monday, and we had a really bad weather situation move in, we were kind of stuck with playing it down at that point. You can't switch in the middle of the race, so to speak.
Right. Sorry, I keep looking at the chat as we go through. But I think that's really important. The other thing that people need to understand is playing lift, clean, in place in the general area is a last resort. Yeah. It's got to dump before we do that. We don't like playing in the rough. We don't care that you get a mud ball in the rough every once in a while. That's called golf and rub of the green. But if we do play it in the
general, don't hit it there.
But if for whatever reason, you're either going to play lift, clean, in place in your own fairway, lift, clean, in place in the general area, it's almost always going to be one scorecard length. If it's really bad, I've seen it where it's a club length. We've played new tour events will play a club length from time to time as well. Usually it's a scorecard length, but it'll be a defined distance, and you have to mark your ball. That is one of the biggest things. It's not bump your ball rolled around. Mark your ball. You can lift it, you can clean it, and you can place it. Once you've placed it, that ball is in play. And you don't get to just roll it around.
Yeah, just for I guess advice, the way I do it when I mark mine is I put my tee in front of the ball, meaning the tee is closer to the hole than the ball, so that when I pick it up and put it back down, I know that it has to be behind that tee in order to not be any closer to the hole.
Yeah, and then there's going to be people say you don't have to mark your ball if you put it back in the right place, blah, blah, blah. Mark your damn ball. Like, I love y'all, but mark your golf ball when you play lift, clean, in place. It's more
take the question out of it.
Take the question out of it. Super simple. It can't be close to the hole. Here's the question: if you're playing lift, clean, in place only, obviously in the general area, can you move your ball from rough to fairway and lift, clean, in place?
If it was general area, it doesn't matter. You can move it anywhere.
The general area, you can move it anywhere. Now, what isn't the general area?
Bunkers, green, teeing area, penalty areas.
Penalty areas,
which also for us in 95% of tournaments is fescue areas. You can't touch it in there ever. So use a tee, whether or not, just take the question out of it. Like, don't be that guy that says, well, technically, and create a debate. You don't have to stay in the same cut dents if it is in the general area. We almost never play lift, clean, in place in the general area for this reason. First of all, there should be a reward for hitting the fairway. But if we are playing the general area, you can't touch it in an area that's deemed to be a penalty area, which would also be the no-mo rules. That's the biggest thing. But the proper way to do it, and if you watch the tour guys, which is a good way to learn how not to do rules violations, mark the tee, mark it with your golf ball the same place every time. So Jody puts it in front. I usually put it on the right side of the ball for whatever reason, but I always put it there so then I know within my area where it needs to be, place it one time. You can't replace it 2 or 3 times, just one time. We set it down, then your ball's in play, and you move on. You can clean it anytime you can lift the ball under the rules, which would include preferred lies, is what it's technically called. You can clean the ball at that point.
So I got a question for you. I had something pop up in a tournament here a year or so ago where in the fairways, it's clearly play the ball down. It's dry. It's, you can drive a cart out on it without any issues. But around the greens where they water, now you might have some water pool up in some areas. The ground's a little bit softer. Ball flies in there, gets mud on it and stuff like that. Now I'm basing my tournament on what's going on in the fairway. Normally it's if you get the cart, considering if the fairways are in good condition, you can get the cart out on it. Typically we play it down. But then under some circumstances where it's wet around the greens, is that a situation where you would play it down or where you would lift clean in place based upon the turf around the greens?
So your choice would be lift clean in place, fairway height or less, or play it down. So if there's a bunch of areas in the golf course and the fairway where balls are going to pick up a bunch of mud, I would be playing lift clean in place in that scenario. That would be my opinion on it. I don't know, Jody, Fegley, where you're at, but if certain areas, usually when you're playing lift clean in place, like in fairway height or less, there's areas of the golf course that are fine, and then there's areas of the golf course that need it.
Right.
What you don't want to do as a chapter owner is be like, we'll play lift clean in place on hole 6 and 17 because nobody remembers that.
Right. Yeah.
So, but jumping right into that, I think that's good. But the biggest thing is best practice. Once again, always mark your ball at the tee. You can clean it. You can place it back one time. The whole roll with the golf club, like none of that is good.
Correct. Just
So,
you have to lift and place. You can clean it. You don't have to.
Place.
Just don't get lazy.
Yeah.
Correct. That being said, next topic, pace of play. Oops, ring.
Sorry.
Just put it on
Turn your
speaker.
turn your phone off when you're playing an APT.
Chris just put in the private chat, is that a landline?
No. Good grief. Who has a
half
landline
of people
anymore?
on here never heard a landline phone ring.
Exactly. That's a rotary phone. Come on, man.
But anyways, no, pace of play, I think would be good is maybe just go around the room. What do you do to help keep your group moving? Like, what's some helpful pace of play tips? Because what we get every week is, what do I do if this person's slow, blah, blah, blah? How do you keep speeding it along? I think it'd be good to go around the room. I'll start with Matt, and then we'll go whatever way that direction is, clockwise.
I mean, the biggest thing is you can always be first to the next tee. So if your group's a little slow and you're noticing it, be the guy that goes to the tee. Par 3, laser it from the cart, grab 3 clubs, go up to the tee, laser it, hit your ball. Hey guys, it's 175. Slope was 182. Have at it. And then go back to the cart, update your scorecard or, live score if you happen to be it. But be the person to move the group along if you're in a situation where guys are, noticeably lacking in enthusiasm to move.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm next. I don't know, but I like. Well, I don't like to, but I try to help them look for their balls, especially if they're in the rough, because they tend to forget it's a 3-minute rule, not a 5-minute rule or an 8-minute rule, and you'll get all 4 guys looking for the ball when the reality of it is, if I go over to help them, I'll be like, hey, Matt, you can go over there and hit, and I'll help them look for the ball, and just try to speed things along that way is the most important thing for me, I think.
Well, there's 2 things that I do. One is, as a player, the thing that drives me the most batty when I know that we're slow or we're behind is the sitting in the cart to write the scores down or have a discussion about what just happened. And so I will speak up and say, guys, let's go and have this conversation on the next tee. Let's pull on up. We can talk about this there, or let's get our scores in up there. And that gets us out of the way of the group behind us, and any discussion that needs to be had can be had there. I agree with Matt. I'm with Fegley. I'm usually also the first one to pull a club and walk straight to the tee. I don't care if it's my honor or not. Like, I'm trying to tell y'all, let's go, guys. And then, when I'm working events, not as a player, and I did it several times this weekend, particularly on the last day, and I'm trying to follow around the last groups, and we've got some public play behind us, and trying to get us in a reasonable time. I'll just rake traps for people, and I'll tell them, hey, y'all go ahead, keep playing. I'll rake this trap. I'll take care of that, spotting balls for them, that sort of thing. So if you're a chapter owner and you're watching this and you're out, doing some marshaling and trying to keep the pace of play moving, that's one thing that you can do. That's a little bit of an extra touch to help guys out and help keep things moving along.
No, I think that's really good, and just a nice touch, right?
Yeah.
When it looks at service, and it's one thing to yell at people for pace of play. It's like, I remember I coached high school girls soccer for a year. I was an assistant coach, and the first day of practice, we were doing these 3-mile runs after school before practice. And the coach I was coaching with was like 300 pounds. And he's like, just ride with me. So the first day, we were literally chasing the girls as they're running 3 miles up and down these hills in his SUV, and he's like honking at them to run faster. Well, needless to say, the second day of practice, I brought my running shoes and I ran with him. And I'll tell you that I had a lot more respect from the players after day 2 than I did after day 1. It's the same thing in running a golf tournament, right? It's one thing to put somebody on the clock. It's another thing to put them on the clock and help them look for balls and rake bunkers and grab the flag and really help them get back into position. Because the thing is, from experience, getting everyone in position is important. I would say the most important things for me that you guys haven't covered, obviously scorecards in the next tee is huge. The person that has the honor should be recording scores after they hit their tee shot 100% of the time. But if we've got a slow person in a group that I'm trying to drag along, the first thing I'm going to do is get my rangefinder and go to the tee and either hit, I'm one that I lay out my course strategy the night before. And so unless the winds are crazy, I'm not really thinking when I get to the tee. I already know what I'm going to hit off every hole. So that's easy to execute while everybody else is fiddle farting around and figure it out. But I think one of the things, if you're the first person to tee on a par 3 with your rangefinder, call out the yardage. Like, that is something you can absolutely do to help your group. You don't need 4 people to walk back to the tee. And just for those of you that don't think you can give yardage, you can give yardage in APT events. You can give slope. You can do everything, but hey, I'm hitting 7-iron. You should too.
That's right. That is not advice.
It is 172. Adjusted for slope, it's 165.
Yeah.
Information is different from advice.
Yeah, right. And the other big thing, when you get to your ball, if people are looking, go hit your ball first, then help them finish the 3 minutes looking, because at least then at the end of 3 minutes, everybody else has already hit. And just practice basic cart etiquette. Like, the number one thing you can do, if you're riding in a cart and the driver of the cart goes to their ball, grab your rangefinder and 3 clubs and take a hike to your ball. I mean, you will literally save 1 minute to 2 minutes a hole, which is the difference between a 4.5 and a 5-hour round. So,
and 2 good comments.
Go to the APT Tulsa Facebook page, and we have a couple of videos on pace of play like that. It's pretty cool.
Right. And Fraser says you don't have to mark with a tee. That is correct. You can mark with a ball marker. You can mark with your club. We're talking about people who just pick up their ball and put it back. You can't do that. You have to mark the ball when you lift it under the rules, period.
So one thing, we've got something good point. Cody talked about it. We all touched on it, was, hit your shot, then help. There should always be somebody going to actively figure out how to hit their next shot while somebody's in a situation.
There should always be movement. Always.
Yep. And then Matthew brought up another good one, to the flights that have triple bogey. If for an unfortunate reason you are the player that has the triple bogey, this is a great opportunity for the group to get caught up, because there's one player not playing. Be the player that helps, whether it's tend the flag, whether it's rake the bunker, whether it's, move cart, somebody left their cart in a bad spot. Go do something to help progress the group along, because you made triple and it happens to the best of us.
Correct. So if we got time for any questions.
That's an interesting one.
We got about 5 more minutes of daylight before I'm in the dark out here on the
before
back
you're in the
porch.
dark. Rocky had a good question. What about someone that goes out, yells the yardages, and then yells, grab a certain clubs? Well, he left the key point there, clubs. Hey, man, it's 150. Okay, grab my 6, 7, and 8. Well, it doesn't.
Or I think what Rocky's saying, though, is, hey, it's 155 yards. Grab your 6, 7, and 8 iron.
That's
that's something I probably would not do.
Right.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and see? You can start.
I would not tell people what clubs to grab, but you could definitely, like, I could go to Jody and say,
what do you want?
Hey, it's 165. I need my 7, 8, and 9 iron, please. Or you could just say, I need my 7 iron. It could be one club.
Yeah.
That's not advice. You're just
asking somebody to grab a club for you rather than you telling them what club that they need to grab for themselves that's two different things.
Correct. So always preface it. It's best to preface it. Hey, man, I just lasered at your 155. What do you need?
Just the same as you don't just like randomly show the club you're hitting to the person, but if they happen to go by your bag and see that your 7 iron's missing, there's no problem with that. It's just public information.
Yeah,
unless you're playing with Eric King and you're giving him a hard time about needing a hybrid from 145 yards, then that's fine. If you want to tell him, hey man, you probably want to grab your hybrid.
This is fine. No, if I'm out 150, I say, can you grab my pitching wedge? Asking for a club is completely fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
No issue with that.
Hey, I pulled driver on 16 at Torrey. The pin was back left. It's 198 to the pin from where I was teeing off at. And what would you say, Jody? Probably 25, 30. And the guys were like, man, you're pulling driver on a par 3? I went, dude, I know what my carry is. Trust me.
Yeah.
I missed the green by like 3 feet long. So
I
it was
will
pretty
tell
close.
You, in the state match play back in the day, I was playing against this guy who was a basket case. Some of our Illinois guys would know who he is if I said his name. But for that whole match, he would always try to look in my bag for everything I did. So on a par 3, I would take 4 clubs out and never in the same order. Like it might be a 7 iron, pull 8 iron, 9 iron wedge out, and I would put them on the ground and I would cover them with a towel so he could not see what club I was hitting. Intentionally. It drove him crazy. He misclubbed all day. I'm like, make a decision for yourself, buddy, but you're not going to keep clubbing off of me. So don't do that in stroke play. It's not necessary, but it is a fun tactic in match play from time to time.
Love it.
Yeah, if you think your ball's so big, play a provisional so you don't have to go back to the tee.
Yes, if you think your ball might be lost, hit a provisional
if there's any chance that it might be lost.
Exactly.
It literally will take you about 15 seconds to hit a provisional, where it will take 5 minutes for you to go, 3 minutes to look for it, determine that you can't find it, and then driving back, and then digging for a ball, then walking to the tee, then or worse, walking to the tee, realizing you don't have a ball, going back to the bag. Just go ahead and hit a second ball, declare it a provisional, hit it, and then figure it out whenever you get up there.
This is a good one from Ryan. Prior to the most recent rules update, you would have had to replace. I believe they changed it though.
Yeah. This is a good one.
I'd have to look it up to be 100% positive. I always put it back if I'm the one that marks it, because forever that was the case when I was growing up playing tournament golf. But I think this one changed.
Hey, Jody's back in the line. I think there's 2 things to this question. The first one is one thing that I always do if I'm in that situation. I always say, hey guys, mark it if you need to, because you're then allowing permission for them to mark the ball. I don't know if that's still a part of it or not, but again, these are all old habits. And then the other thing is I'm 99% sure that it is okay to someone else mark the ball and you replace it. I'm nearly certain on that one. So there we go.
Cool.
We'll revisit that one to make sure.
Your provisional needs to be a different marking. It needs to be distinguishable. Which, by the way, if you're the guys that aren't marking your golf balls on the first tee, like, don't be that guy either. Put your provision. If you're playing Titleist 3 with a black dot, don't hit a Titleist 3 with a black dot as your provisional.
And ideally, you need to tell your group, hey, the first one was a 3 with a red dot. This is a 4 with 2 green dots, or whatever the case may be. Announce what it is you're hitting, so that there's no question whenever somebody gets up there and says, "Oh yeah, of course he found it." You know.
Customary procedures.
That's right.
So this is where the back of our local rules are good, because we do let you hit a provisional ball for a ball that may be in a penalty area. So, but read the back of the rules. It explains it all.
Yeah, that's that whole. There's a long paragraph, but it's in there.
Yes.
There's a long paragraph, but it's in there. We weren't going through that rule, so we've not prepared that. But we will get to that as we go through the rule book over the next couple of weeks. So,
and look, and for the rules too, guys, I used to, when Matt and I are old enough that when we played competitive golf, we had to keep an actual book in our bag. You don't have to do that anymore. There's an app for that. You can get the USGA Rules of Golf app, download that. They're literally at your fingertips. You can pull the rule up, scroll to wherever you need to get to. You can do a search, the whole 9 yards. So download the app. Make it easy on yourself.
right.
I think as chapter owners, we just need to be consistent, and then the people that play with us all the time kind of know what to expect from us.
Oh man, you're expecting all of us to go to rules camp, postseason activity?
No. I mean, I'm referring mostly to pace of play, but I mean on the rules as well. But I'm referring to pace of play mostly.
Yep.
There was one comment earlier when we were talking about pace and things that we can do. It is, and I forget who it was, maybe Rodney or somebody was saying that when you're doing pairings, and this is more a comment for chapter owners that may be watching, when you're doing pairings, if you are mindful of putting your groups together and riding together in carts that are playing from the same tees, sometimes it's unavoidable, especially in the majors, and as we repair on the second round where we get 4 people in a group playing from 3 different tee boxes, and that's frustrating and it's hard on pace of play. But we can avoid some of that whenever we're putting our tournament together if we make sure that we're trying to keep some of these guys together where they're maybe only playing a couple of tee boxes, and preferably they're riding together when they do that.
Yep.
Cool. So, although I was just looking. We did find some printed rule books in the most recent edition with decisions in it. So we will have them available.
Nice.
So I got those ordered. I laughed. I was like,
spend the next 10 minutes discussing. Sorry.
Right. Hopefully at the next tee.
Yes. Yeah. While someone's hitting.
Yeah, the biggest thing, if you think there's a rules violation and you're not 100% sure what the rule is, have them play 2 balls and ask us, and we will look it up.
Yes. You don't have to make that decision and stake your round on that decision in the middle of the 9th hole.
Yes. Correct.
So, cool. Well, final thoughts. We're getting here over time.
It's May.
It's May already. I can't believe that.
That's right. We just finished. We've gone. If you're just looking at our major schedule, we've gone from Kiowa to Omni, Bedford Springs, all the way out west to Torrey. Now we're going to turn right around later in just a couple of weeks and go to the East Coast again, the PGA National. So we are definitely coast to coast this year with this schedule, and it's been super fun watching some of the players that are playing multiple majors and how far they're traveling in either direction to go get in these things. It's great.
I have been one of those fortunate ones, and I'm tired.
Like Paul Hess. I mean, Paul Hess has been at some of these tournaments, and it was good to see Paul get a win. He's been moving around a lot. I think he's going to Ireland's what he said here, coming up pretty soon, too.
He's in Hawaii right now.
He's in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, then he's going to end up going overseas and playing.
He's got it down. I think that's twice that he's done the West Coast Major and then week in Hawaii. So
I like where his head's at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For those of you from the East Coast that have ever done Hawaii, it's a lot easier from San Francisco or Los Angeles.
That's right. And big shout out to my Nashville boys too. That they've got a good group of 4, 5, 6 guys that have been traveling together now. So it was good to see those guys out there and playing well and in contention this weekend.
Yep. Had some good conversations with them. It was a good time. They played some pretty good golf courses outside of the ones that we played too. So they made a trip of it.
As they should.
Yep. 100%.
Well, you guys killed it this last weekend at Torrey. It's a good time.
We got the swag drop tomorrow morning.
Swag drop tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for early access. We'll take a look, see how many people are on the list now. Let's just take a little look at this. Fegley and I have been working on the Monday that we're going to pull all these. Yeah. So definitely more people on the list than
before or than product.
Well, it's hard to tell because there's some people have added their name to the list like 3 times. Like there's no advantage to doing it different. So you're not going to get it any earlier by putting your name on.
Right.
So
good question. See, this is good. We're
from Ryan.
Ryan, another one. So in any of the team events, any of the 4-ball, you can pair up with whoever.
That's right.
Pair up with whoever. We're going to have some fun. American Dunes is going to be a blast August 16th and 17th. Team event. Only major with spots still remaining. So, and it's early May, which is crazy. Yes, Michael, we are skipping your comment. No offense.
Hey, we can try.
So
we may know some people that could make that happen. Who knows?
I may already have it in the works, Fegley.
Oh,
we have friends now.
Here we go.
Thanks to the guys that left the cigars in their cart, huh, Fegley?
Yes, absolutely.
I wasn't picking on John Giblin. See, if I make fun of somebody like that, just smile and nod, act like we're talking about somebody else. I was more picking on Lambert, who I think signed up 3 different times, like 2 days apart each. So, but it's a good time.
That's who the cigars are.
But yes, he wants to know what time Eastern. It'll be 10 a.m. Eastern. Expect the email. 12 p.m. Central. The drop opens to everybody, so it should be fun.
All right.
So awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We will be in the office next Thursday. So this is our 2 weeks at 2 weeks at home in a row. This is the last time that'll happen for, unfortunately, a very long time. But we're enjoying this little stretch as we get ready for the big summer season. So good luck. Play well this weekend. Tournaments all across the country. And we'll see you guys next week.
Two under. Quality fabrics. No roll waistband. Joey pouch. Elevate and separate. No chafing. What more could you